Hey, here's your quick heads up to this longer podcast. I want to share with you a few aha moments of my life. In fact, the very first one. And then a story of how things could have gone terribly wrong. And also how you can expect to have more aha moments than you could imagine. To actually get that success that you want and be there. Be there enjoying your life. Pushing yourself in such a wonderful way. This is Paul at Personal Development Unplugged, where we're going to deconstruct the difficult things or things that have been made difficult into, easier steps, easy, achievable steps that you can create your success. We're going to do it with things like NLP and hypnosis and just push our personal development, our true selves, beyond what you can imagine. Have a listen.
Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey you, we're back again for this longer podcast of the unplugged type. Personal Development Unplugged. Trying to make a few things a little bit more simple. Deconstructing those things made difficult by some people. And I was reminded, listening to a podcast, another podcast, Cluffy, but a podcast by Jordan Peterson. He is a thinker, and he really he's able to elegantly and eloquently discuss his thoughts. And he reminded me of something. And you see, what it reminded me of, I've written a little meta description. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but not painful. But you don't know that at the time. You do know about the uncomfortableness though. What the hell are you talking about? Well, I'm telling you, I remember this, you see. I think it was my very first aha moment. Can you remember your first one? I can remember it. It wasn't that long ago, and I was about 15, maybe 14, but I think I was 15. And we were doing another level of maths. Advanced maths, I think it was called. And it was all these blooming brackets and dots and things like that, and logical bits. And you know what? There was this one bit. I just couldn't get it. It was as if I started looking at it, listening to the teacher say things about it, talking to my friends about it, and it was a blank. It was like this mist would suddenly go, whoosh. I just didn't get it. And I couldn't get it. And this nothing was there. And it was like there was a little bit of, I can remember it now, there's a little bit of this chaos going on. I've talked to you a little bit when I was working with that client and I didn't know what to do. And it just went, And then my unconscious mind took over for me. But not in this particular case. Well, maybe it did, I don't know. But I can remember just sitting there at the desk. I think I remember it particularly because we're in the library. I normally didn't do these classes in the library, but I was in the library with this, having this lesson. I opened my book, writing down these equations, not getting a bloody thing about it. And then, boom, something happened. It was like click, click, click. And it was so plain. I just got it. I just got it. And because of that, suddenly I started getting other things. And it was uncomfortable. It wasn't painful, but it was uncomfortable at that time. But I didn't know. I didn't even know it was an aha moment until I was reminded by Jordan Peterson. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And it's so strange. I can still remember that just these few years ago. I keep saying few years ago, when I was 15. And it's that first ever aha moment that I can think of now. And when I just sit here thinking about it now, it really was magical, because it was as if something across my eyes, the vision suddenly got choom, and there I was, understanding something. And then you see, while I was thinking about that, caused by this thing that Jordan Peterson was saying, I started to think of what else has happened a bit like that. And you see, in timeline therapy, there's a thing called letting go of limiting beliefs or limiting decisions. We have a limiting decision that creates a limiting belief. And I remember the very first time that I saw this in action. It was part of my, it was a demo that just didn't go right for the trainer. And the more right or more wrong it went, the worse it got, because the trainer started to push and push, try to get the right answer. And the guy who was doing the demo with him was like just letting go the other way. And it wasn't happening at all. And the whole demo got really embarrassing. And in the end, the guy just said, well, you're obviously not right for this, not ready for this. Should have said, well, maybe not the right person for me at the moment, but take responsibility. But he didn't. But I do remember that so much. It was as if I didn't get it either. And I can remember when I did timeline therapy in my clinic, and it came to a limiting belief or limiting decision, limiting belief, I would say to my clients, now this is such an important process that I want to get the words just right. So if it's okay, I'm going to read a few parts of the process from this little card. Would that be okay? And I'm thinking to myself, this is so bad. This is so bad because you see, I hate scripts. Hate them with a vengeance because if you have to read a script, I don't really feel you're a hypnotherapist. You're certainly not a bloody hypnotist because you don't need scripts. You should be good enough. You should know your craft, know the art and science of hypnosis, hypnotherapy, NLP. Yes, you need a script to learn from, to learn the process. Once you understand the process, the script just evolves in your own way. But there I was, making up these bloody excuses. And I was getting away with it. Until, now what's the until, Cluffy? Well, that was until I started doing trainings with my younger son, Joseph. We would do a 4-day training teaching people everything from the practitioner level of timeline therapy to master practitioner of timeline therapy. Do it in a 4-day period. And obviously we do demonstrations. And Joseph and I would tend to do the demonstrations and some of the other little bits we put in between alternatively. So he would do one demo, then I would do the next, then he would do the next. And we'd go through this very first training. And it was going like clockwork. It was brilliant. And it was mainly on time, which for a timeline therapy training, that was pretty awesome too. And we were putting in little other processes around the line just to add a little bit of spice here and there. And because we were doing it alternatively, guess what? Blooming demo I had to do. You see, you remember a little while ago, we've talked about investing in you. You remember, is that Mad World one, the last Mad World one, and the last longer podcast? We talked about the right time to invest in you, how to invest in you. You remember those towers and the legs and the wheels and the buckets and things like that. And it was all about really getting to that core of taking responsibility, being at cause. Because no one else is going to invest for you, are they? No one's going to invest in you until you invest in you. They may invest after, but if you're not completely responsible at cause, well, you're not going to get it. And you have to have that intention, the intention of succeeding, the intention of knowing what you're going to do. And just as importantly, you have to know your whys. Do you remember that? Finding your whys, your values. Why is it important to me? And you get all that together. So you have your intention, you know your outcome. You're going to take responsibility. You're going to be on the cause side of that equation, cause and effect. And you know how important it is to you. So you've got that motivation. But the thing is, do we play it safe? Because if you're doing something that is going to be compared to other people, and most things are, by the way, you know it when you think about your stuff. You're going to show it to somebody. Very rarely are you just going to do it for yourself. So you've got to put yourself out there. Remember, you're going to be a little bit vulnerable with that old term vulnerable we have. So do you play it safe? Well, you see, you could play it safe, but would you be entirely satisfied with the result? I wonder. But, or don't like buts, or you could push it a little further, stretch it, because you know stretch is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, but not necessarily painful. There we got to that meta description of all this. You see, if you really are going to be empowered and you are really going to be committed, you've really got to go for it, haven't you? That thing where we always say, have the will to do whatever it takes. And that's where I was reminded by this wonderful guy, Jordan Peterson. If you ever get a chance to listen to him, he's got a lot of YouTube videos out. He's got a podcast out where they record some of his, I guess it's talking with audiences about his book, The 12 Rules, and things like that. So interesting guy, such an interesting guy. And when you play it a little bit faster than normal, it's really funny as well, but that's beside the point. You can always practice with that. But what he said was, and it was like a little bit of an aside, this is always the aside bits that get me. He said, if you really want to learn, really want to do something a bit more, really just go to that next level by not playing it safe. He said, you've got to go to a special place, a place where you sort of know, but you sort of don't. And it's that sort of don't and sort of know. It's that uncomfortable stretch because I sort of know this, but I really don't. But it's not painful. And when you do that, you've got a chance to really grow. Because you see, the places you know really well, on the one side of that type of equation, they're in order, aren't they? It's an ordered place. It's a place where there's stability because you just know. And you know it pretty well. But the places you don't sort of know, that's where the chaos is. And the skill in doing this is to find the line that sits between chaos, the sort of don't knows, and the order, the sort of do know. Because when you get on that line, guess what happens? Boom! The ahas start going. They come more often because you suddenly start learning things. You put yourself in a position to act upon the things you know and use it to find the things that you don't know. And it's only when you start to really look at how much you know, you find out what you don't know. Or you also find out there's an awful lot you don't know. But when you stretch, not too much so it hurts, there's none of this no pain, no gain. Because when you get into that pain, which is where there's too much chaos, what happens? Well, we get overwhelmed, don't we? Total overwhelm. And it's not confusion, because confusion is, I think, on that line. Confusion is that place where I seem to have all the information, but I just haven't got it jiggered in the right places. And when it gets jiggered in the right places, boom, aha moments, understanding, motivation, the whys just get bigger. So finding that line, coming away from overwhelm, but not too easy. If you remember a long time ago, on one of the longer podcasts, it was #103. All about being in the flow state. And it was the same thing. I explained basically a graph where you push your skill level to as far as you can go, where you're just on the edge, as it were, of your knowledge, the intensity. Because if it gets too intense, too much past your skill level, you'll give up. Because there's pain and it's as if it's just too much and you give up completely and go back to square one. Which is where you get things like yo-yos. People go so far, oh no, it's too difficult. Go to the gym and I run like hell for the first day, then the pain in my legs, I'm never going to go again. Chaos. Take it to that limit where you're just stretching. That's where it all is. So you may want to listen to that longer podcast. #103, getting in the flow state. Because this is what we're talking about. When we're investing in ourselves, but taking it to the right limit. And I think this place where Jordan Peterson suggests is that place where you sort of know and you sort of don't. When you're there, old Cluffy's guarantee comes in now and again and says, this is the place where you're going to learn. You're stretching yourself to the point of learning more. You'll be actually using everything you know, stretching everything that you know to its limits to learn more. And then all of a sudden that foundation gets bigger, better, stronger, and you can do even more and more. So when you consider this and consider that investing in and within yourself and those sections of life that we were talking about, different areas of your life, I think you need to find that line in every section. So if you're going to do some deep work on a particular section, where is that line? That line that I sort of know and don't sort of know. Where can I get help to help me get past that line? Just move it up a little further so I can increase my skill, increase the intensity. So that intensity becomes a new norm, the new not easy, but the new comfortable norm. And that's where we're going to make exciting, new and maximum growth. But how do you do that? Once you get there, well, you have to schedule it, don't you? They're all very simple. In simplicity, there's genius. And this is where you deconstruct everything what people do. And you just say, right, what are the things I need to do to really get this improvement. And basically, you're going to get your outcome, know your outcome, set your state, set your intention because you understand your whys, and then schedule time in your week to start learning to think and grow. And that time has got to be sacrosanct. To the best of your ability, things happen. And if it does, and it's more important, then you sometimes have to diddle and daddle and move things around. But when you get into the habit of scheduling, and I was talking to my son, it just reminded me today, he was talking to my son Daniel this morning, and he was talking of how someone was doing this particular thing, and every day he did it, he would put a cross on the calendar. And what happens is the next day you put another cross on the calendar that you did that thing you wanted to do. And the next day you do it and you put a cross. And he said, it gets into your mind, Dad, that you don't want that chain to break. You don't want to break the chain. So the next day you make sure that you schedule in that work, the work that you wanted to do, but now you've got this, you're seeing it. You've got a visual representation outside of you saying, well, on Monday I did it, Tuesday I did it, Wednesday I did it, well, Thursday I'm going to bloody do it. And the thing is then at the end of the week or whenever your review period is, then you review how far you've gone. Because when you review, you're going to be able to see where you want to go from there. So you're looking at that line again, that line of sort of know, sort of don't. But it's moved, isn't it? And you're going to schedule new work in. And the thing about that is when you do that review and you see that improvement, because you will, not maybe every day, but at the end of the week, you'll see what you've done, how you've improved, how you're looking to the next week, which you know is going to improve your skill levels in those different contexts, or the quality, the richness of those contexts of your life. You just get grateful. Maybe you want to have an act of gratitude or a gratitude journal or whatever, and just write those things down, but just feel grateful. You reflect. And that's the other thing, you review and reflect. And when you're reflecting of what you've done and what you're going to do, you can just feel grateful. Grateful to you because you stood up. You took responsibility. You went on the cause side of that equation. The cause is greater than the effect. You are creating those effects. You are creating the future that you want that's going to come past into the now. Because the now is only the future going past you into the past. And you're creating it. And it's like not rinse and repeat, but just schedule, review, reflect, gratitude, and repeat. Yay! And once you get into this, it becomes an unconscious habit, especially if you're seeing those crosses on your calendar. Done it again. Done it again. I'm responsible for this. And those whys get bigger, get stronger. It's amazing. And then you can share it with people, as we say there, that integrated field of learning. How did I know about those crosses on the diary? I didn't until my son told me it's about 2 hours ago, he told me. Can't remember who he said he got it from. But it was a book or a video. He got it from there. They shared it with him. He shared it with me. Have those people still got it? Yes. Now I've got it too. And I've shared it with you. Have I lost it? No, I've still got it. That's what the whole point of this integrated field of learning is. The more you share, you still get, and it comes back. And if I find a better way to keep that chain going, I'm going to pass it back to Daniel and he'll pass it on to his friends too. It just works so wonderfully well. So this is what it's all about, really. Breaking things down into easy, deconstructing the complicated into easy, or the easiest way. Not too easy. It's too easy. Sometimes you don't get the benefit. You drop our line. So we're too much into the I sort of know. We want to raise that line to just in the middle, in the flow state. And anyway, if you remember, there I was with Joseph on this training, and I'm looking at the program notes that we've got and our program times, and I'm looking, there's Joseph will be doing that, I'll be doing that, Joseph will be doing, and I'll be doing, oh, really? Guess what? It was the limiting belief, limiting decision demonstration. I thought, oh, blimey, and I'm reading this, because, yes, I'm going to go from a script to show the practitioners how the script works. But as a trainer, I should be able to repeat that script in its entirety, because I can do all the rest. I have no problem with any of that. So I'm reading it, and then in the breaks, I'm reading it, I'm getting it. But I'm starting to, well, you can imagine how my tummy was. So we asked this person, and we asked for people to come up, or a particular person to come up for a demonstration on letting go of a limiting decision and a limiting belief. And this young lady comes up, or puts her hand up and says, it's so important to me, Paul. So important that I let go of this belief, because I don't believe I've got an unconscious mind. And I know that everything we talk about is all about unconscious minds, my unconscious mind, my best friend. But I just don't get it at the moment. And it means the world to me, because I know that belief is wrong, but it's there. And she had a family with her in the audience as well, and they were nodding, and one was crying, and I thought, we have to choose this girl. We have to choose this girl, because it means so much. We could have been safe and looked for somebody who had, a very easy limiting decision belief to let go. But no, we chose her. So I thought, oh my goodness me. I'm now up on stage in front of all these people, sitting with this lovely young lady who's got this really important issue that she wants to let go of, this limiting decision that she doesn't believe in, that she has an unconscious mind. Knowing that she wants to be a timeline therapist. She wants to be a full-time therapist doing all sorts of things. And a lot of it is all around this philosophy of unconscious minds and conscious minds. And you have to, when you like that and you want to do that work, you have to be aligned, because you can't fake it. So what happened was, I went through it. I just trusted, because I knew I had an unconscious mind. And I went, okay, what's it going to be like to really smash this demo, to kill it, to make it the best demonstration I've ever seen. And I'm going to be there doing it. And that's what I asked my unconscious mind. And you know what? What happened, Paul? I shall tell you, because I know you're interested. This was a big stretch for me. But that little trust in my unconscious mind, because it was so important to me. I'd taken responsibility. I knew I was at the cause of all of this because I wanted to do it. I knew my why. It was so important to me to be able to do this and give the best, not just a demo, but to give of myself and share what I knew. So we did it. Another question to you. Do you know what happened? Well, do you know what? It bloody was the best demo I had ever done up to then. The limiting decision just went whoosh, disappeared just like it should have done. And it did. Which means she had a new belief, and she believed 100,000,000% in her best friend, her unconscious mind. And she was tears of joy, danced off the stage at the end. Her family hugged her, people were clapping, and I'm thinking, whew, that was awesome. Thank you. And I got to my reviews and reflection and gratitude. And guess what? That made such a difference to me, because now I love when I change beliefs or help somebody let go of a limiting decision and limiting beliefs. Do I need a piece of paper? Do I need to say that old excuse? Oh, excuse me, please, would you mind if I read from this, because it's so important? Because I just knew it. I'd actually let go of my own limiting belief. I'd gone to that point where I'd pushed my skill level right to its limits, and just to sort of know, sort of don't know. And then I trusted, because I'd got all the other things in place. It was awesome. And what else did that do, though? You see, it wasn't that I just got pretty good, and pretty damn good really, of helping people let go of limiting decisions and limiting beliefs. Everything else in my world of therapy suddenly got better, because I was more confident generally in every area. I really got into and being with my unconscious mind. And when I'm working with people, I would actually stretch my limits. I'd go onto that line, because I knew that if I'm at that line of sort of know, sort of don't know, I'm going to make the most, dramatic changes in people's life. And I don't change people, they change themselves, but I guide them to the most amazing, awesome changes then. And yeah, and I'm bigging this up a little bit. That's how I feel about it, mind you. And you will too when you do your sort of know, sort of don't know, and you start learning. But it's amazing when you do go into that stretch. Yeah, it was uncomfortable. And I really had to go 100,000,000% trust in me and everything I'd learned and my unconscious mind. And when you do that, it's just a boom, and you never look back. Well, and if you do look back, you look back with gratitude. And then you go, I wonder if I could do that better. And I think that's the difference. When you look back and go, I wonder if I could take that a little bit further. Because when you've got that intention, you've got that outcome in mind, you know your why. And I guess you're just getting into that like a mastery, because it's knowing what you knowing what to do and doing what you know, but then taking it to another level. And once you get into a habit of taking things like that to another level, it becomes infectious, and certainly infectious within yourself. So I thought to myself while I was making a few notes about this, why is this important? What am I talking about? Why is this important? Well, you see, for me, it was so important to me having written this, because it reminded me of so much how true that little line was from Jordan Peterson, how it got me back to my 15-year-old and having the first aha moment that I could really remember. And then working with my son and doing the demo and things like that. And it just gives me more and more confidence to push myself to the limits and beyond. And why is it important for you? Well, I thought about that because I don't know, do I? How do I know what's important to you? I can guess. But the thing is, what my guess is, you want success. We all want success, but you personally want success in whatever success is for you. And I think it's important that you have it as quick as possible. Not too quick, where you miss out on it, but you have that rapid success that is just right for you. And you know you can do more, because when you do that, you are going to be contributing to the world. There are so many people, and this is a sort of side rant, and you've all seen it. You've seen it in the news. There are people doing demonstrations. Now, I know their intentions are their intentions are positive, but their behaviours, some of those people's behaviours are absolutely atrocious. And in fact, they're in direct conflict with what their intention is, which is the whole point about having bloody therapy. You know, you have a positive intention, but the behaviours you're using are in complete contrast or conflict with that. And we're seeing the most horrible side of society, in my mind, in my view. And I hate that. Hate it with a vengeance. Because we talk about, when we do work on ourselves, with ourselves, this work has got to be good for us. That's a given, isn't it? But it's also got to be good for others. And not just some others, every others. And it's got to be good for this little old planet Earth of ours. And I think, when you do your own work, I know you'll be doing it with those three things in mind, even if it's only unconsciously in mind. Is it good for me? Is it good for others? And is it good for our little old planet Earth? And when it all falls in line with that, and you're stretching yourself in that line of sort of know, sort of don't know, and you're improving because you've got the whys, and you're doing it with the best of bloody intentions, the behaviours won't be in conflict. They'll be supporting you, and your unconscious mind will be supporting you because you'll be aligned, you'll be congruent. Everything that means success and richness in every description of richness, every quality of richness. And that means sharing it with the world, because you're good for others and good for the world. Little old planet Earth here. Now, I'm sorry if that's gone off tangent a little bit, but it's just something I felt I had to say. So many people are giving all this guff and falsehoods, I think. But I just think, going back to the philosophy that I follow in Personal Development Unplugged, in Genius as Simplicity, the presuppositions of NLP, it just means that we have to think about others, think about the world, and think about ourselves and get aligned to that. Anyway, let's get back to you. And I wonder, when you do look, have you looked at those areas of your life yet? If not, I'm not going to say why not, because I would never say, why haven't you done it now? Other than, wouldn't it be good to just take some time out and schedule in this work? Scheduling, looking at your areas of your life, and where are you? Are those areas of your life where you want them to be? Now, if you answer yes to that, then you'll also answer yes to this. Could they be better? Could you make them 1% better? Because if you could, this still applies. So whatever happens, this applies. And you schedule time to look at those and think about those areas, reflect on those areas, deep work on those areas, and then you take action. And those old 5 steps to success, the 5's key to success. Remember, know your outcome. So you know your outcome, you know your whys. You know you're going to take responsibility, because you're then going to take what we call it massive intuitive action. But it's sort of intuitive, but you spent time thinking about this, planning it. But the intuitive action is to go, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it right on the line of sort of knows, sort of don't know. And as I do that, I'm also going to be aware of where I'm going, where I've headed, the results I'm getting. What is that? Well, isn't that review and reflect? And when we've become aware of where we are, and we might have to change course a little bit, or learn a bit more, or maybe pull our neck in a little bit because we've gone too far into that chaos, we're going to have that flexibility. The flexibility to change what we do. Because if we keep doing the same stuff and we're not getting the results, what's going to happen? Well, that's stupidity, isn't it? Definition of stupidity. But added to that, we add to the physiology and psychology of excellence. The acting as if I've got that goal already. The feeling of the wish fulfilled. With all that imagineering. Nothing you can think of cannot be achieved by you. Because if you can imagine it, we can find a way. You'll find a way. Because you've gone back to that very first thing of being at the course. Taking full responsibility. And that's it in a nutshell. I hope, as usual, that made, well, maybe not complete sense, not perfect sense, because I don't want it to be perfect. Because I want gaps in it so we can come back and look even more. Because I know whatever we do, we can get 1% better. And if this is nowhere near 100%, so we've got plenty of room to maneuver ourselves upwards even more. Improve our skills. If this has made some sort of sense to you, I'd love to know what type of sense it made to you. If you could just email me. Same thing every podcast. I'd love an email from you. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Let me know what's happening. And also, just remember, if you say, well, do you know, I'd love to do all that, but my self-esteem, my confidence, I need a bit of work to do with that. Remember, paulcloughonline.com. I've got a program called Supreme Inner Confidence. Forget the supreme bit. It was just, that's a name for it. But it's regaining I think it's supreme inner confidence, regaining your self-esteem and being able to put your very best foot forward in this wonderful adventure, which we're going to call your life, your mission, and your ultimate vision. Have a look, paulcloughonline.com. And I think it's, paulcloughonline.com/confidence. It's pretty good that way. Have a look, money back guarantee. So what have you got to lose other than your low self-esteem and your lack of confidence? That's the only thing. Anyway, enjoy every heartbeat. Please let me know. Share this podcast, this episode, every one of it. Tell everyone, because we just want to, let's just grow this community to make this world a better place. Do our one little bit in the foundation of making this little old planet Earth a better place. And we can be proud of what we've done. Anyway, until next time, my friend, enjoy every heartbeat. And just remember, it's good to forget to remember the things you don't need to remember, and allow your unconscious mind to remember the things that you need to remember. And I wonder if you, the unconscious mind, will surprise them for feeling happy for no reason. I wonder what that would be like. Until next time, enjoy. From me, Paul Clough, Personal Development Unplugged.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.